How about if the spiritual disciplines were like teaching academic material? After each lesson, you can stop and ask your students, now, what did you just learn? And at least on the good days, they can give a response with a concrete answer. Well, not so with the disciplines. They are more, I think, like shaping the character of our students. One day you'll see flashes of brilliance as they respond to situations just like you've been training them to do. The next day you'll see responses that make you wonder if they've learned anything all year long. As we practice the disciplines, we allow God to shape our character through them. And some days we'll see progress, and other days we won't. Why should we practice the spiritual disciplines? Listen to James's exhortation from chapter 1. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. The purpose for practicing the spiritual disciplines is not to see how many chapters of the Bible we can read or how long we can pray, nor is it found in anything else that can be counted or measured. We're not necessarily more godly because we engage in these biblical practices. Instead, these biblical practices should be the means that result in true godliness, that is, intimacy with and conformity to Christ. Dallas Willard quotes Oswald Chambers in a radical way of thinking about the Sermon on the Mount. The Sermon on the Mount is not a set of principles to be obeyed apart from identification with Jesus Christ. Is that how you think about it? The Sermon on the Mount is a statement of the life we will live when the Holy Spirit is getting his way with us. Willard continues, in other words, no one ever says, if you want to be a great athlete, go vault 18 feet, or run the mile under 4 minutes, or if you want to be a great musician, play the Beethoven violin concerto. Instead, we advise the young artist or budding athlete to enter a certain kind of overall life, one involving deep associations with qualified people, as well as rigorously scheduled time, diet, and activity for the mind and body. Is Jesus your hero? Do you want to be like him? Check out the record of his earthly life in the Gospels. If I mention Captain Sullenberger, how many of you have a good idea what I'm going to quote? In case you've forgotten, he was the captain of a U.S. Airways flight in January of 2009 that hit a large flock of geese just soon after leaving LaGuardia Airport in New York. It knocked out both engines. He and his co-pilot managed to land the plane on the Hudson River in what experts say was an extremely unlikely save. Do you remember that now? His famous quote is worth repeating here. One way of looking at this might be that for 42 years, I've been making small, regular deposits in this bank of experience, education, and training. And on January 15, the balance was sufficient that I could make a very large withdrawal. That resonates with me. If we want to make the right emotional and verbal responses in the worst of situations, we will need to subject ourselves to rigorous, tireless daily training, to making those small deposits day after day after day. And it's called discipline, spiritual discipline.